Good evening, everyone. My name is Sharifa Mason, and I am a State of Texas Master Teacher and a 2020-2021 Presidential Leadership Scholar. I'm here this evening to talk to you for a few minutes about U.S. Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos and some of the most egregious and horrific policies she has implemented that has hurt students across America and teachers as well. Last night, I had the opportunity to co-host Surviving the Podcast with Corey Wilson, and I brought along some of my amazing friends from the Texas Educators for Biden campaign. Dr. Kimberly McLeod of Texas A&M University Commerce came through with a powerful quote. She said, "If you are not at the table, then you are on the menu." And from that, I realized we have been on the menu and on the table this entire 4 years. It's time for us to get off the table and take our seats so that we can change the trajectory of America's students and teachers in positive ways in the next 4 years. I want to share with you that Betsy DeVos isn't an educator, and she's never been. She's gone through private schools. Her children have matriculated through private schools. So why are we allowing her to be the voice that resonates when educational policies and practices are being created? We need to ensure that the next 4 years is dedicated to having someone in that seat that understands the needs of all of America's students and is willing to fight for them and implement policies that are going to meet the needs of the students where they are in order to catapult them to where they need to be. Secondly, she refuses to commit to diversifying the teacher pipeline. Right now in America, our teacher workforce is 80% white, while more than 50% of America's students are Black and brown. We need to make sure that we have a pipeline that reflects the cultural mosaic of this country. And we need someone in the seat who understands that students need to see teachers that look like them in order for them to be successful. The data shows that Black students are 30% more likely to attend college when they have a Black teacher in their primary years. Yet Black teachers only make up about 10 to 12% of the teacher workforce, and Black male teachers are only 2% of that tiny percentage. We have to find someone who understands the impact of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Thirdly, she continues to plague impoverished Black and brown communities with failing charter school systems. They usually have non-certified teachers who are ill-equipped to handle students that have endured severe trauma. So the behavioral techniques and strategies that are being used concur with those that bring on the idea of a school to prison pipeline. We need to ensure that the charter schools that are coming into our areas are proven and have the idea of making sure that Black and brown students are successful. We cannot continue to be duped by Betsy DeVos and the big, beautiful buildings that are being built and the shiny uniforms that are being placed on our kids when the standardized assessment scores show that our kids are regressing tremendously. Betsy has not dedicated a plan to eradicating the overwhelming achievement gap between Black students and their white counterparts. With the issues we've had due to the coronavirus and racial pandemics, students being at home without internet access, without technology, that gap is going to grow exponentially. Teachers this year are going to have a lot more work to do with students, and there is nothing in place to ensure that there is a leverage of these technologies for our students to ensure they have what they need. We need a Secretary of Education who understands that internet is like air and every student should have it, every home should be afforded it, and every student should have one-to-one technology that allows them to work, whether it's virtual or on a school campus. We must always remember that when the least of us succeeds, everyone wins. Lastly, and most importantly, she has not cultivated a plan to create a task force to bring together highly successful educators that are able to create solutions to the most plaguing educational practices and policies. Educators, we have had no voice in this administration. This is why we have not been able to be successful in the last 4 years, especially as it relates to the last 6 months. These two pandemics, health and race, have been extremely crippling, especially for students of color in impoverished areas. We need to make sure that we create the opportunity to bring someone in that will be focused on the needs of impoverished students, because if they are, everyone wins. Remember, y'all, let's get off the table and let's take our seats. Have a good night.